Let's be brutally honest. There comes a moment when a man stops chasing her and she feels it. Not in her mind, but deep in her stomach. That sharp twist that says something's different. The messages don't come like they used to. The energy isn't desperate anymore. And for the first time in a long time, she starts to wonder if she misjudged the man who once would have done anything for her. Because here's the truth most women will never admit. They don't fear losing him and they don't respect. They fear losing the man who finally stopped trying to prove his worth. The man who found it on his own. You see, when you change, it's not about pretending to move on or acting cold to play games. It's about something deeper, something spiritual, Evan. It's when a man's soul gets tired of begging to be seen and finally decides to see himself. That's when your silence stops being an act and becomes your new standard. Women are intuitive more than most men realize. They can feel when your energy shifts. They can sense when the man who once waited on their replies now doesn't care to check if they've even read his message. And that's when confusion hits her harder than any breakup ever could. Because she remembers who you used to be, the man who tried to explain himself, who chased clarity, who hoped she'd understand his worth someday. But now you're distant, not angry, not bitter, just done. And that's the kind of peace she never saw coming. She scrolls through your old conversations, looking for signs she missed. The jokes, the emojis, the late-night talks that used to make her feel like she was your world. But now the silence is haunting because deep down she knows the version of you that loved her unconditionally doesn't exist anymore. You buried him the moment you realized your love was being traded for convenience. And this is where female psychology gets fascinating. When a woman realizes a man has truly changed, not pretending, not posting motivational quotes, but genuinely evolving, it awakens something primal inside her. Her ego trembles. Her curiosity spikes. Her pride tries to protect her, but her emotions betray her. She starts asking herself questions she can't ignore. Did I push him too far? Was I wrong about him? Why does it feel like he's better without me? And that's the beauty of growth. When you shift your energy from needing her to needing peace, she has no control anymore. Because now your worth isn't tied to her approval. It's built on self-respect. And that's the one thing she can't replicate, manipulate, or replace. Here's what most men never understand until it's too late. A woman's attraction isn't based on what you give her. It's based on how she feels around you. When you were desperate, she felt power. When you were available 24/7, she felt control. But when you stepped back, not to punish her, but to rebuild yourself, that's when she felt uncertainty. And uncertainty is the birthplace of attraction. Now she checks your social media quietly, pretending she's moved on. She notices your energy, calmer, sharper, more grounded. You're not posting out of pain anymore. You're posting out of purpose. And that shift makes her nervous because it means you didn't just change for her. You changed despite her. That's when realization hits. She lost the man who once would have given her the world. But now that he's become the world himself, she can't reach him anymore. You see, the moment Amin reclaims his focus, everything, the silence she didn't expect, changes. Your voice gets deeper. Your walk more certain. Your time more valuable. You stop explaining yourself to people who never tried to understand you. You stop chasing temporary attention because you've discovered something better, peace of mind. And peace is magnetic. That's why out of nowhere, she'll accidentally like an old post or reply to a story with something casual. It's not random. It's a test. She's trying to see if the man who used to crumble at her smallest gesture still lives inside you. But he doesn't. You buried him under every silent night you spent rebuilding your sense of worth. And that's when she realizes the truth. You didn't change to get her back. You changed because she broke the part of you that settled. You became everything she said you'd never be. Strong, grounded, and unpredictable. And that unpredictability, it's what keeps her thinking of you long after you've stopped thinking of her. The irony, when you were willing to give her everything, she wanted space. Now that you've given yourself to your purpose, she wants your attention again. But the man she once took for granted doesn't exist anymore. So when she realizes you've changed forever, she won't say it out loud. She'll show it in glances, in delayed replies, in subtle attempts to reappear in your orbit. But you'll see through it, not with anger, but with understanding. Because growth isn't about revenge. It's about finally being at peace with what you can't control. And when that peace arrives, she'll feel it. And she'll never forget the man who found it without her. There's a moment every woman faces, though she'll never admit it out loud. When she scrolls through your name and feels a pulse of regret she can't explain. She won't message you. Not yet. But she'll stare at that screen, remembering the man she used to take for granted. Wondering when everything slipped away. Because deep down, she knows the truth. She played a game she thought she could always win. She thought you'd always be there waiting, forgiving, loving without boundaries. But when you changed, the entire dynamic shattered. You became unpredictable, and unpredictability is terrifying to a woman who once felt complete control. See, she used to know exactly what to expect. A text in the morning, a call at night, you asking if she was okay, if she still cared, if she wanted to fix things. But now, silence. And silence is the loudest reminder of what she destroyed. That silence makes her remember the things she never wanted to feel. Guilt, longing, uncertainty. Cher plays your last words in her head, wondering if she pushed too far, if her pride cost her something real. And when her friends ask, "Why are you thinking about him again?" she'll laugh it off. But the truth is, every time she sees Eamon who reminds her of you, she feels that hollow ache, the one she can't fill with anyone new. Because no matter how many people she meets, none of them carry that same energy. They might have. Her confusion turns into regret, the looks, the charm, the attention. But they don't have your calm intensity, that quiet confidence you built after walking through heartbreak. You be camaraderie, and rarity haunts the people who didn't value it when they had it. Now she's not just missing you. She's competing with the version of you she never met, the version that came alive after she left. And that realization burns deeper than any breakup ever could. Here's something most men don't know about female psychology. When a woman realizes she's no longer the center of your world, she starts trying to find ways back in. Not through love at first, but through curiosity. She might view your story. She might ask mutual friends about you. She'll start showing up in places you might be pretending it's coincidence. But what she's really doing is checking to see if she still matters, because now she's the one overthinking. She's the one wondering what you're doing, who you're talking to, and how you've become so composed without her validation. And it's not jealousy that breaks her. It's the realization that you no longer need her to feel whole. There was a time she was your reason to wake up, your motivation to try harder. Now your motivation is yourself. You're no longer chasing love, you're chasing purpose. And that's what flips the entire story. Because when a man finds purpose after pain, he becomes emotionally untouchable, and she knows it. You might think she doesn't notice, but trust me, she does. Every post where you look genuinely happy, every moment you share with peace instead of pain, it stings. Because once upon a time, she was their reason for your smile. Now she's just a memory in a chapter you've already outgrown. And this is where the female mind starts to fight itself. Her ego says he'll come back. Her heart whispers, he's gone. So she battles with herself, scrolling, comparing, regretting, but pretending she's fine. She'll post pictures that look confident, captions that sound independent, songs that hint at nothing being wrong. But deep down, she's hoping you'll notice. She's hoping your old feelings resurface. She's hoping she still has a piece of you left to reach. But what she doesn't realize is when Eamon truly changes, there's no switch to turn him back. The love he had becomes wisdom. The pain he felt becomes power. And the version of her he once idolized now just feels human. That's what growth does. It levels the field. The woman you once placed above you now stands beside your memory, equal to every other lesson you learned. And that's what terrifies her most, because she's not used to being forgotten by a man who once made her his world. Now she feels the quiet rejection. The kind that doesn't come from words, but from absence. The kind that doesn't scream. It just exists. And in that existence, she starts to question everything she believed about love, about control, about herself. You see, most people think regret hits after loss. But in truth, regret hits after realization. It's not when she lost you that she breaks. It's when she sees the man you became without her guidance. When she realizes you healed from what she caused without hate, without bitterness, without seeking validation. That's when it hits her. She was part of your pain, but not your peace. And there's no coming back from that. So now, when she starts missing your calm, when she sees you smiling, not pretending, but genuinely at peace, it shakes her entire perception of who you were, because she expected you to fall apart without her. Instead, you rebuilt your life. You found clarity. You learned to move with quiet strength. And that's what makes her heart drop. The truth that she underestimated your resilience. Every man has that turning point. The day he stops asking, "Why did she leave?" and starts saying, "Thank God she did, because her exit became your awakening." Her silence became your mirror, and her absence forced you to meet the version of yourself you were meant to become all along. Now the tables have turned. She's the one haunted by what could have been. And you finally realized you were never losing her. She was losing you the whole time. There comes a time when she can't fight it anymore. The pride, the silence, the pretending. It all starts to feel heavier than she imagined. Because no matter how far she runs, she can't escape the thought of you. Not the old you, but the new one. The one she helped create by walking away. At first, she'll test the waters. A like, a reply, something small. Just enough to see if your attention still lingers. And when you don't respond, when you don't chase the bait like you used to, she feels something she's not used to feeling. Powerlessness. For a woman who once had emotional control over you, that loss hits deep. Because here's the truth, no one tells you. When a man evolves, the woman who underestimated him has to face a mirror she's been avoiding. That mirror shows her the reflection of everything she lost. Not because you were perfect, but because you grew past the version of her that kept you small. She thought time would make you softer, more nostalgic, easier to reach. But instead, time made you colder in the best way possible. Disciplined, calm, detached. Your voice changed, your words changed, even your presence. It carries a kind of quiet strength that doesn't beg to be understood anymore. And she feels that every word you don't say echoes louder than the ones you used to. Now she starts asking herself questions she doesn't want answers to. Did I mean anything to him? Is he seeing someone else? Was I really that easy to replace? But what she's really asking is, how did he stop needing me? You see, the female mind often connects value to emotional influence. When she could affect your mood, your peace, your sleep, she felt powerful. But now she feels invisible. And that invisibility breaks something inside her pride. That's when she'll start to accidentally reach out. Hey, just checking in. I saw something that reminded me of you. Or the classic, I hope you've been good. Each word carefully chosen. Every message dripping with curiosity disguised as care. But deep down, it's not about you. It's about her need to know that she still exists in your world. The irony, she used to ignore your messages while you waited hours, days, weeks for a reply. Now she's the one waiting, staring at their phone, hoping you'll say something. Anything that proves she still matters, but your silence, that's your evolution. The subtle ways she tries to return speaking. You don't need to prove anything anymore. You don't need closure. You already gave it to yourself when you stopped explaining why you were worth loving. And that's when she realizes something even deeper. You never stopped caring because of hatred or anger. You stopped caring because your soul outgrew the chaos she presented. You stopped needing validation from someone who couldn't even validate herself. And that's a kind of freedom most people never find. Now she's living in a quiet war between two worlds. Her pride tells her to move on. Her heart tells her she already lost the best version of love she'll ever experience. So she hides it. She smiles in photos. She laughs around new people. But deep down, she feels the absence of your presence. The one energy that challenged her, grounded her, and made her feel seen without having to perform. She might even tell herself she's over you, but her behavior will say otherwise. Every glance at your profile, every song that reminds her of a night she thought you'd forget, every random thought that hits her when she least expects it, that's her heart fighting. The truth her mind doesn't want to face, because the truth is brutal. When she realizes you've changed forever, she also realizes she has no power left to bring the old you back. The old you. The own who texted first, forgave too quickly, stayed too long, doesn't exist anymore. You buried that version of yourself beneath every disappointment she gave you. And now all that's left is the man who learned to love from a distance. And that kind of man, he can't be manipulated. He can't be tested because his validation doesn't come from being wanted. It comes from knowing he's enough, even alone. So she'll try again. Maybe through mutual friends. Maybe through subtle messages that feel casual but aren't. She'll hope that maybe, just maybe, there's a small piece of the old you left to reach. But when she finally faces your calm indifference, when she sees that soft smile that doesn't hold tension anymore, she'll understand you've changed for good. And not for someone else. For yourself. That's what scares her the most. Because she realizes that while she was chasing attention, you were chasing growth. While she was trying to prove she didn't need you, you were becoming the kind of man every woman quietly desires. Stable, disciplined, peaceful. You became the storm she once controlled, and now she can only watch it from afar. She'll never tell you how much it hurts. She'll never admit that. She replays your moments together when she can't sleep. Because that would mean accepting the truth that she's not the own who got away. You are. And when that realization settles in, when it finally hits that your energy no longer bends toward her, she won't know whether to is you, admire you, or fear the silence you left behind. There's a strange peace that comes when you finally stop waiting for an apology that will never come. When you stop hoping she'll understand how much you cared, how deeply you tried, how hard the man you became without her loved. At some point, you realize the closure you were searching for wasn't meant to come from her. It was meant to come from the man you became without her. Because you did something most people never do. You faced yourself. You looked in the mirror after she left and asked, "Who am I without her validation?" And the answer didn't come overnight. It came through sleepless nights, through silence that echoed, through every moment you had to pick yourself back up when no one was there to help. That's when the change truly began. When you stopped reaching out, when you stopped explaining your worth, when you realized that no one can take from you what you no longer give away, freely, your peace, your focus, your time, your energy, and that's the man she never saw coming. Not the angry one, not the bitter one, the free one. The man who can stand in a room full of memories and feel gratitude instead of pain. Because now you understand that their rejection wasn't the end. It was their direction that built your strength. You learned that love without respect is self-destruction. That chasing someone who doesn't value you is the fastest way to forget who you are. And when you finally stopped, when you finally said no more, the universe began to align everything you'd been missing. Opportunities started showing up. Peace returned to your mornings. And for the first time in a long time, you felt proud of yourself. Not because she noticed, but because you did. That's when she saw the difference. That glow that didn't come from her attention. That confidence that didn't come from her approval. That quiet certainty that comes only from surviving what once broke you. And for her, that's the hardest truth of all. Because in her story, she was supposed to be the one who walked away stronger. But now she's watching you become the man she always wanted. Only this time, you're not becoming him for her. You're becoming him for you. She'll think about reaching out again. She'll type the message and delete it. Because how do you approach someone who's already made peace with your absence? How do you get back into the life of a man who no longer needs what you took from him? You see, that's what growth does. It changes the power dynamic completely. When you needed her, she had control. But when you grew beyond her, she lost it. Because control only exists where emotion still lives. And once your emotions evolve into understanding, you can't be controlled anymore. Now you move differently. You speak with purpose. You don't explain. You demonstrate. You don't chase. You attract. Because your energy speaks louder than your words ever could. And that's when life starts rewarding you. Not with her attention, but with alignment. With peace that doesn't demand performance. With people who see your worth without needing you to prove it. With goals that finally make sense because you're no longer distracted by temporary affection. And somewhere out there, she'll think of you, maybe on a quiet night, scrolling through old photos, wondering how the man who once begged for her love became the one she. The truth she can't escape, can't stop thinking about. She'll smile at a memory, then feel that ache, that deep knowing that she had the chance to grow with you, but chose to test you instead. And in that moment, she'll finally understand the difference between losing someone and being replaced by evolution. Because you didn't move on, you leveled up. You didn't stop loving. You learned to love yourself enough to stop settling. And that's the kind of energy no one forgets. So when she realizes you've changed forever, she'll also realize something else. You were never hers, Taufix. You were hers to appreciate and she didn't. And now the world gets to see what happens when a man finally decides he's enough on his own. That's the ending every man watching this needs to feel. Not revenge, not bitterness, but power. The kind that comes from mastering your emotions, not escaping them. The kind that turns heartbreak into clarity, silence into strength, and loss into identity. Because the greatest victory isn't making her regret losing you. It's looking back one day and realizing you're grateful she did. Because without that pain, you would have never met the man you were always meant to become. So now, as you listen to this, ask yourself, are you still waiting for someone to validate your worth? Or have you finally realized that you were the validation all along? Because when that moment comes, when you finally let go of needing to be understood, that's when the universe replaces everything you lost with something real. Peace, power, purpose. And that's when she'll know she didn't just lose a man, she lost the chance to ever meet the man you became. Question for you. When she finally realized you a message every man needs to hear were no longer the same man she left, did she try to come back, or did you stay silent and move forward? Drop your answer in the comments. If this message hit deep, like the video, subscribe for more raw truths about female psychology and the modern man's journey. And share this with a friend who needs to hear this tonight. Because one message could change how he sees,